is our current understanding of mathematics, really.
Yeah.
The final word, the solid foundation we think it is.
Yeah.
Or could there be, well, huge parts we're just completely missing? Think
Right.
about math in your own life. Was it just like a thing in school? Or is it this ongoing puzzle about reality itself?
Yeah, those are exactly the kinds of big questions we love to dig into. And today we're doing a deep dive into this really thought-provoking document. It's called AIRIBI BOGE Automotive Initiative, from AI through AIR to BI.
AIRIBI BOGE.
Okay, and it offers this, well, pretty novel take, not just on how intelligence might evolve, from artificial to biological, but on the mathematics underneath it all.
Right, so it maps out this path, AI, then something called real intelligence, or AIRI, and finally biological intelligence, BI. But the really wild part, the thing that jumps out, is where it suggests we look for answers.
Exactly.
The Mum language, spoken way up in the highlands of Guatemala. That's the surprising bit. So our mission here is to unpack this document for you, pull out the key ideas about math's foundations and this potential new direction for intelligence. And honestly, get ready for some unexpected links. Leibniz, ancient cultures, modern AI. It's quite a mix.
It really is. So the document's core argument, basically, is that for AI to progress, it needs to go through this middle stage, real intelligence, before it can properly grapple with, or maybe even become biological intelligence.
Okay, RI as a bridge makes sense. But then the big question is, how? How do we actually, make that happen? Get AI from here to there?
And this is where the mum language comes in. The document puts forward this, frankly, pretty startling idea that this language might hold a key.
A key to what, exactly?
To the fundamentals of what it calls IT mathematics, basically, the math underlying our computers and information systems. The idea is that the way the language is structured, the concepts embedded in it, might offer insights that help us get past the limits of, say, quantum logic, move toward the kind of mathematical thinking that's closer to how biology, well, computes, for lack of a better word.
Wow. So the way kids in this community learn and think through their language could actually hold clues for future AI.
That's the proposition. It's a powerful idea. And to build this case, the document brings in some history. It starts with Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz.
Ah, Leibniz. Okay, yeah, giant figure, binary code, right?
Absolutely. The document dives into his formalizing binary, the ones and dos that, everything digital runs on.
It's hard to overstate that one.
Right. And it even touches on his sort of philosophical angle one being, like divine presence and A to absence. It's pretty deep when you think about the foundation of all this tech.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But he was more than just binary, wasn't he? Calculus.
Exactly. The document points out his independent discovery of infinitesimal calculus, dx and the integral sign out. It does acknowledge Madhav got there earlier in India.
Right. Important context.
But Leibniz's contribution was independent and obviously hugely influential for Western science and math.
Okay, standard history of math, mostly. But you mentioned surprising links.
Ah, yes. Now here's where it takes a, let's say, unconventional turn. The document floats the possibility that Leibniz might have drawn inspiration from the Madrid Maya Codex.
Wait, what? Leibniz and a Maya Codex? How?
I know, it's a big claim.
Yeah.
The suggestion is that his engagement with this ancient text might have somehow sparked or influenced his thinking about infinity, about these mathematical concepts. It's speculative, but definitely intriguing.
Intriguing is one word for it. That connects things across centuries and continents in a way you just don't expect.
It really does. And moving beyond just the math formulas, the document looks at Leibniz's wider philosophy, specifically his idea of monads.
Okay, monads. Remind us quickly.
So Leibniz pictured reality as being made up of these fundamental units called monads. They weren't physical, no extension in space, but they were like these indivisible points of, well, perspective almost, metaphysical building blocks.
Right, these sort of self-contained little universes.
Kind of. And the document makes this connection, arguing that modern physics, where atoms dissolve into quantum fields and probabilities and mathematical symmetries, kind of echoes Leibniz's idea. It's not a direct match, obviously, but...
But there's a resonance, like he was onto something about reality not being made of tiny billiard balls.
Exactly. And the document even calls his monadic view, where each monad reflects the whole universe, a kind of premonition of modern multiverse theories. Again, not the same thing, but that motif of plural realities.
You see the echo. It's fascinating how these old philosophical ideas pop up again. What about his thoughts on machines? AI?
Yeah, the document brings that up too. Leibniz apparently had his doubts about whether machines could truly think. He questioned if they could have genuine understanding or consciousness, or if they'd just be manipulating symbols.
Which sounds incredibly familiar, doesn't it? That's basically the debate we're still having about AI today. Can it understand or just mimic?
Precisely. His skepticism, highlighted in the document, feeds into this larger argument about needing maybe different mathematical frameworks than just computation as we know it. The document also briefly touches on his theodicy.
Trying to explain evil in a world with a good God.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And the related idea of the Laplacian demon, the idea that if you knew everything about the present, you could predict the future perfectly. Total determinism.
Okay. And how does that connect?
Well, the document frames this deterministic view as sort of foreshadowing how modern neuroscience challenges free will. It raises this question: do our mathematical tools, our very foundations, actually limit how we even conceive of things like freedom or possibility?
That's a heavy thought. That the math itself might box us in.
It's definitely something to chew on. And this leads us back then to the Maya civilization. The document really emphasizes their mathematical achievements.
Especially zero, right? That's the big one.
The concept of zero, yeah.
Yeah.
Such a fundamental thing for us now, but a massive intellectual leap. And the document poses this really provocative question. What if the descendants of the people who invented zero, who had this profound mathematical insight, what if they could merge that ancestral wisdom, that different way of seeing numbers and relationships, with modern technology?
Okay, now I see where this is heading.
The argument is that their unique perspective, their cognitive frameworks, might genuinely reshape AI algorithms, network designs, even how we approach problem solving generally, in ways we just haven't thought of.
Tapping into a different kind of mathematical intuition, maybe, one from a different lineage.
That seems to be the core idea. And it's not just theoretical talk. The document actually describes a specific project.
Oh, what's that?
An initiative to build a school right there in the Guatemalan highlands, specifically to try and bridge this ancient knowledge base with the digital future.
So actively trying to make this connection happen.
Yes. The thinking, as the document puts it, is that progress isn't always linear. Sometimes it kind of loops back to older wisdom to find new paths forward.
I like that. Loops back. So what's the concrete ask here?
It leads to a very direct call to action. It's an appeal to fund the mathematical education of these Maya children.
Okay.
With the stated goal of, and this is ambitious, seeing where Leibniz's journey, his quest for a universal symbolic language, his deep mathematical insights, might actually lead when combined with this completely different linguistic and cultural perspective.
Wow. So the core belief is
Right.
that the next big leap is in their heads.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
That the breakthrough from our current AI, maybe even beyond quantum computation, towards truly understanding biological intelligence, that it might lie within their language, their thought patterns.
Yeah, it's a bold claim.
It really is. The document finishes that thought by saying, the race is not for silicon, but for the mathematics of life itself.
The mathematics of life. That's quite a phrase.
It is. And for anyone listening who's intrigued and wants to know more, or maybe even support this, they provide a contact email. It's AIRIBI@BOGECOMGT.
Okay. AIRIBI@BOGECOMGT. We'll make sure that's available. So wrapping this up, it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? This idea that maybe there are fundamentally different mathematical systems out there.
Yeah, one's rooted in ancient knowledge, expressed through languages structured totally differently from ours.
And could those systems hold answers? Solutions to problems we're stuck on with AI, or even just understanding the universe better.
It definitely pushes you to consider looking beyond the Western mathematical tradition we usually operate within. Could there be entirely new insights waiting if we just broaden our perspective?
It's a really exciting thought, actually, this potential meeting point between ancient wisdom and modern science. Who knows what could come out of it?
Exactly. A genuine sense of unexplored territory, right at the foundations of everything we think we know about intelligence and math.